Good day, everyone. This is Ed 125, Educational Technology 1. We will be discussing Module 2, Concepts about Educational Technology. This module will enable you to define the concepts related to the educational technology. Now, as for the intended learning outcome for this module, at the end of this discussion, you're expected to define the concepts that are related to educational technology. As a learner, have you observed students using their laptop computers? Now let's take a look at these two freshmen in college, Jill and Lara. Both of them just finished their class in English. They're looking for the answers for their assignments. Let us surf for the novels written by Shakespeare in our laptop, Jill said. Let's avail of the Wi-Fi in the library. When two girls reached the library, they sat in a corner and set their laptops. Jane put out her broadband after opening her computer. Then she started surfing for the topic of their assignment. The same true with a group of their classmates who went to the library to look for the answers to their assignment in the computers. Another thing we have or the group of a group of teachers, no? So our teachers here are looking and surfing sa internet, no? Kung ano yung magiging activity siguro nilang ang gagawin nila for their classes. Okay. And it seems that every learner and the teacher are users of technology. If we're going to look at especially the new generation now, our setup, no, all of us are actually working on something with the use of mobile devices or laptops, no? So it seems that every learner and the teacher are users of technology. Educators are aware that technology is here to stay and be useful tools in enhancing teaching learning activities. That's the main purpose of integrating technology and using technology because we wanted to have a better teaching learning activities. Okay, so now I will present to you the different concepts of technology. We will just be talking here now. First concept about technology is technology as the use of gadgets, tools, or equipment to perform a task expediently and efficiently. So it is knowing, making, modifying, and using of tools, machines, techniques, crafts, systems, and methods of organization in order to solve a problem, improve a pre-existing solution to a problem, achieve a goal, handle an applied input and output relation, or perform a specific function. So that is actually the the concept, the first concept of technology. We're going to look at here ang daming kayang gawin ng technology, no? So in school, students use their cell phones to tell their parents that they will come home late because probably they will practice for a play, no, to be shown during the school's foundation day. The gadget, which is a cell phone, allows communication to reach the target faster and smoother. No, long before, nung sa amin pa, no, nung um, I think elementary pa lang ako. By the time kasi we transferred in Iligan City. We're originally from Maranding, Lalalao del Norte. If ever we wanted to communicate sa grandparents namin or parents ng mama at papa ko, ang ginagawa namin, nagpapadala kami ng sulat. Okay? That's quite nostalgic yung feeling, no? Na ang sarap din sa feeling na magsusulat ka, no? But today, hindi na kailangan ng sulat, no? Kahit konting mensaheng gusto mong ipatid, all you have to do is to text them or call them. Okay. And then a teacher can ask students, no, to inform her about their progress in the class through email, which both the teacher and the students can readily access. So pwede na sa email yung papadala yung material, for example, kung ano man yung mga conversations na gagawin. And then of course, a student uses a printer to get a copy of his paper to be submitted to the teacher easily and neatly. Okay. Hindi na yung isusulat pa. All you have to do is to input it sa computer and then you print it, no? Okay. Another student can send his paper via electronic mail to the teacher to meet the deadline for submission. Okay. Another concept of technology we have is technology is the collection of tools, including machinery, modifications, arrangements, and procedures. So this refers to reliable devices that enable one to make presentations repeatedly. Teachers and students show PowerPoint presentation using the computer and LCD to enhance teaching and learning. Furthermore, the PowerPoint can also be shown repeatedly, so there is no need to print the presentation. Now, like for example, kung may klase ka sa kabang section, ang ganda na, you have now your presentation, no? And then you can use it sa other section, another group, no, without printing it, no, for example. And other materials are digital storytelling and games, which can be repeatedly used in class discussions. Digital storytelling immerses the learner into the dynamics of digital communication and self-expression. And then since most of the students they are visuals, this is nice thing also to elicit their interest, no, to dig more sa concept or sa topic because the visualization is so nice, no? It is very enticing sa mata. It includes a collection of photo stories and arranged sequentially to capture certain events in one's life, like a memorable field trip in a factory, or celebrating the school's foundation day and communicating through the use of television or computer and LCD memorable moments in a student's life like graduation, school fair, and other events. So, ang dami, no? Ang dami mga gawa. Collection of tools na including machinery, modifications, arrangements, and procedures. The other one, the other one is okay. By the way, we have here our picture. No, you have our students using presentations, no, in discussing or reporting, and of course our teachers are also using it, no? So what they're gonna do there, they can actually use that sa next klase niya, no, or pwede niyang gamitin sa next school year na naman, no? Hindi kagaya noon na yung ginagamit ni teacher ay Manila paper, no? So hindi siya aabot ng isang taon kasi nga na napupunit at saka yung quality na nasisira. So for this, walang masisira. It's still nice, no? Okay. Okay. So ito yung concept ng digital storytelling. So ang ganda. This would include the image capture devices. You have the audio capture devices. We have computers and digital media software. No, yung simpleng uso na ngayon yung mga nagpapakasal. What they did is meron silang prenup, and then yung prenup naman ng mga pictures, they will use it as at somewhat a teaser sa kanilang wedding, for example. And then during the wedding, may mag-shoot, no, pictures and videos, and then ito yung parang package na ng mga wedding organizers, no, to give a video capture sa kanilang wedding. So that is still part of what we call digital storytelling. Okay. Next, we have other gadgets as technology. Some people need to use gadgets or tools to perform some chores faster. Tama, no? Na for example, washing machine. So, siguro lahat na tayo meron na tayong washing machine, no? Kasi nga, gusto nating matapos yung mga bagay-bagay. And then we wanted it to multitask. And then rice cooker, hair blower, electric fan, a floor polisher natin, no? Parang gumagamit na ng robotic na floor polisher. Hindi na yung ano pa, gumagamit ka pa ng ano yun, nung coconut husk, no? Electric food mixers, blenders, and grinders, no? Other technology-related appliances are radio, television, music player, and digital camera because they wanted it to use for entertainment. So these equipment entertain people through listening, watching, or documenting events. And then technology also is used by following a process, and most often desired products, no, are obtained. The other one is a student uses a hair dryer to facilitate styling a newly shampooed hair before coming to class. Yung mga babae, no, they will be using hair dryer, so it will take much time for them to go out sa kanilang room, no, to just to prepare for a class. Okay, so it facilitates styling. The other one, classroom in schools are equipped with electric fans to provide a well-ventilated and convenient environment. Okay, so technology for ventilation and of course to provide convenient environment. The other one, students use electric food mixers, blenders, and grinders in their technology and livelihood class to produce some delicacies for sale. So production becomes fast and efficient, and the entrepreneurial activity resulting from the product results to a good realization of fast production, efficient time management, and a gainful profit yield. Ito naman talaga yung concern natin na mas mapadali yung production ng ng product. No? That's our main goal. No? Because kung wala yung technology, siguro nagmamano-mano tayo and it will take time. No? The other one, student gatherings are made more memorable and happier with the use of music players, amplifiers, digital cameras, televisions, and microphones. So our technology here can actually gather memories, mga memorable moments. No? So those are other gadgets as technology. The other one we have is the teacher as a technology. After describing some gadgets associated with technology, one very important technology asset is the teacher. The teacher facilitates learning through the use of varied instructional materials, and that is true. No one can replace. No? Even technology cannot replace our teachers. No? So the teacher facilitates learning through the use of varied instructional materials like the books, the blackboard, magazines, newspaper, library materials, and visual aids. Furthermore, the teacher creates situations through the use of repertoire of teaching methods and strategies to facilitate learning. So that's the main goal naman of the goal at the same time challenge of teachers no to um, to make use of appropriate and proper teaching methods and strategies to facilitate learning. Okay, a number of theories of learning are applied by the teacher as well as repeated practices, monitoring, and evaluation of instruction to make sure that students will learn. All the teacher's effort and creativity in teaching are considered technology. So that is why our teacher here is considered as technology. So the teacher as a technology. The teacher itself is actually a technology. So there is a need to change from traditional roles of technology as teacher to technology as partner in the learning process. Yun nga ang gusto nating matanggal na notion, no? Because long ago we picture technology as a replacement of teachers. But then again, ang technology in a particular side, ang technology naman talaga is actually the partner of the learning process, not technology or not technology as teacher, no? So partner siya ng teacher to have better teaching learning process. Okay. So earlier, it was believed that students cannot learn from technology. On the other hand, technology can support meaning making by students. Uh, it could actually support if there is a proper guidance, no? Actually, yung technology naman, the usage of technology, you can use it in positive and negative way, nakadepende. That is why we really have to guide our students, no, in manipulating technology. This will happen when students learn with technology. To realize this, the following assumptions about technology are agreed upon. So we have our different assumptions. The first one is technology is more than hardware. It is made up of any reliable technique or method of engaging learning, such as cognitive learning strategies and critical thinking, and that is true. No? Yung ano natin, yung technology natin is beyond hardware. No? It's beyond about the components. It's beyond on the parang yung skeleton niya, electricity, no, somewhat like that. Because our technology can actually give cognitive learning strategies and critical thinking. No, it's on how to use, no, the proper usage of technology lang. Ito lang yung dapat nating maintindihan. The second one is learning technologies can be any environment or definable set of activities that engage learners in active, constructive, intentional, and authentic learning. Technology can be introduced in the form of a game. So, ang dami na, no? Actually, pwede natin siyang magawa and then gagawa ng game and then all of us will be working on it. Lahat ng mga estudyante, there will be maximum participation coming from them, and of course, they will be getting authentic learning. That's the main goal, no, of why we introduce technology, no, in the middle of the teaching learning process together with the teacher. Okay. The third one is technologies are not simply conveyors or communicators of meaning, but they can also serve as resource materials for reflection and other thinking skills. This is true. No, um, for example, the students may serve information from the computer, but they should be asked to give their own understanding by clarifying, illustrating, classifying, summarizing, and inferring, comparing, or explaining. No, kasi nga ang daming information sa internet, no? And then all they have to do is to read. Like for example, you will provide different links, no, about global issues, and then for them to use those resource materials, you will give them guide questions to reflect on. Okay. So the students can download researches about learning styles as well as questionnaires about learning styles. In this case, they undertake activities as a result of downloading materials from the computer learning styles by downloading. Anyway, it is more on how we use technology when it comes to reflection and thinking skills. Number four naman, technologies support learning when they fulfill a learning need. Yes, of course. No. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng fulfill a learning need? Example, students can download sample rubrics to enable them to create their own rubric. Okay. Or they will download sample videos, for example, for them to make their own videos. Okay, so technology support learning when they fulfill a learning need. The other one, technology support learning when they fulfill, technology support learning when interactions with technologies are learner initiated and learner controlled. The bottom line there is dapat student centered siya. May democratic yung approach kung baga. Now, for example, the students develop PowerPoint presentation to make a clear and interesting report within a given time limit. When slides are presented, the classmates can easily understand the ideas being presented. Now, ano bang ibig sabihin ng learner initiated? It is because yung estudyante yung gumawa. Ang yung estudyante yung nag-conceptualize in making the PowerPoint presentation for that particular topic or report to be more understandable, na yung mas madaling ma-catch up ng mga kaklase. No? And learner control, of course, because the decisions on how to conceptualize the content of your PowerPoint presentation, it's all up. It's all up to the students. Okay. Number five, I hope that is clear, no? Number five, interactions. Interactions with the technologies are conceptually and intellectually engaging. Again, for number five, interactions daw with technologies are conceptually and intellectually engaging. Ano ibig sabihin? Example, the students create diagrams to show relationships between two variables. In presenting frameworks like achievement in algebra is significantly related to achievement in mathematics. So, meron talaga siyang interaction if we're going to look at, no, that Really, our technology here, no, with the use of technology, students can create diagrams, no, on how to present it that in such a way mas makita at maintindihan that algebra is significantly related to the achievement in mathematics and how to show it by the use of technology. Okay, because you have a lot of options there. Now, if you're going to use PowerPoint presentation to show the relationship of mathematics and to show the relationship of algebra and mathematics, you can have that, no, through the use of technology. So when the achievement in algebra is high, achievement in mathematics is also high. So with the use of technology, you can actually show it through a diagram, no? Okay. Next, number six, technologies should function as intellectual toolkits that enable learners to build more meaningful personal interpretations and representations of the world. Kung titingnan natin, technology should function as intellectual toolkits. Okay? So these toolkits must support the intellectual functions that are required by a course of study. So example natin, computer programs like word processing provides the user with toolkits like speller. Okay, meron siya. Like Thesaurus, we have grammar checker, download of varied information, and many other tools which help the students in their research, paper presentation, games, animation, using of colors, fonts, pictures, and desktop publishing. So ito yung mga intellectual tools na gagamitin ng estudyante for the students to express, no, no, for the students to express kung ano yung gusto niyang i-present when it comes to explaining something. Okay. And these toolkits must support the intellectual functions that are required by a course of study. Okay. And then, by the way, these toolkits, dapat nating malaman kung saan at kung saan pwede siya gamitin. That is why at the bottom line of talking about technology, no, in using inside the classroom and even outside the classroom is we really have to teach them how to use them properly. Okay. I think the last one, number seven, learners and technologies should be intellectually partners in the learning process, where cognitive responsibility for performing is distributed to the part of the partnership that performs it the best. Technology tools like laptop serves as a study gadget and partners of students, no? Hindi pwedeng maging hindi siya not to supplement but really partner, no? Ibig sabihin ng partner, they actually working mutually. Ibig sabihin na the other party can benefit with the other party and the other way around. No? Hindi pwede na maging replacement ang technology. Hindi pwede na the learning of the students will be monopolized by our technology. No? Yung by the time na merong assignment, um, you open your laptop, you search for what the content is, and then you copy paste, and then you submit it. No, that's not actually the concept of partnership, no, between learners and technologies. So mutual yun ang ilahang relationship. So again, technology tools like laptop and any other gadgets serves as a study gadget and partners of students. So we have to stick on that. So for example, meron tayong pa-example, many students have laptop which serve as a technological partner in their studies, and that is true. Kung wala man tayong laptop, I'm sure meron tayong smartphones, no? They also make materials using the different toolkits to facilitate the preparation of schoolwork in the different subjects of their courses. Again, pag sinasabing toolkits, ito yung for example, ito yung Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint. Sa loob pa ng PowerPoint, meron pa din different font style, mga colors, and so on. Those are actually toolkits, no? Okay. So those are the assumptions about technology, no? So for us to realize the following, those are actually the assumptions about technology, and they are actually agreed upon. Okay. Next to it would be another concepts, no, of educational technology. The first one is the different concepts of technology. Now let's proceed to the after we are done discussing concepts of technology, and we actually average ourselves to the some of the assumptions of the purpose of technology in the teaching learning process. Now, let's proceed to the concepts of educational technology. Let's have first educational technology as the selection, development, managing, and use of appropriate technological processes and measures. Ano ibig sabihin? The teacher and the learner should be able to select technologies which help learners attain the intended outcomes of instruction. If there are principles to be learned, experiments can be used, and that is true, no? Especially for science. For instance, in teaching the principle acid reacts on metal, the students can use a metal container and heat vinegar in it. Later, the students can investigate the discoloration in the metal container. The application of this principle can be applied in keeping acidic food, no? Especially yung may mga pagkain na nag-contain ng acid components, like for example, I think we have an instance. For instance, fruit salads with pineapple should never be kept in metal container because pineapple is acidic. The result will be spoilage of the food. Now, the process of performing the experiment is a technology. Okay? So that's actually the role that hindi natin makikita. But then again, doing the experiment, or performing the experiment, the whole process of it is actually part of what we call technology. The other one, concept of educational technology we have is educational technology as the choice of appropriate principles in the preparation and utilization of conventional and non-conventional technology tools as well as traditional and alternative teaching strategies. Ang haba, no? But then again, if we're going to look at the this concept, it talks about differences on or the utilization of different materials, no? Materials na gagamitin sa in incorporating when it comes to teaching strategies. So we have the term conventional and non-conventional technology tools, and of course, we have traditional and alternative teaching strategies. So let's try to look at it. So as application of theory and practice, no, educational technology has five domains, namely design, development, utilization, management, and evaluation of processes and resources for learning. So that's actually the pattern, no? I think this is in order now. That is the five domains of educational technology, and we will deal with them each by one later part, no? Okay, so this is according to that's AECT, or Association for Educational Communication and Technology. Again, that is Association for Educational Communication and Technology, or AECT. Okay, so let's try to look at, no, so that the figure illustrates the five domains of educational technology, which gives one a big picture of the theories and practices involved in applying the varied concepts that cover it. So we have, of course, design. We also have here development, utilization, evaluation, and of course, management. Okay, so that is the five domains of educational technology. And again, we will give some brief descriptions of each domain, of each of the domains of educational technology. Let's try to look at their description. So again, I would like to present to you the five domains of educational technology, namely design, development, utilization, management, and of course, evaluation. I think this is the proper arrangement. So when we say design, we establishing a framework to guide in planning the educational technology. Think of it that think of constructing a lesson, or conceptualizing a lesson for a particular day. Okay, so we have to establish a framework, of course, to guide in the planning in planning the educational technology. Now, right after designing, we are now to develop. No? So using the design or framework, materials are produced and of course developed. Okay, that is actually again that is coming from the design or framework na ginawa. Right after designing, right after developing and producing, this is now the time that we are to use them. So this is now the part of utilization, implementing and using the learning materials to enhance knowledge and skills of learners. It is also known as the action phase because this is where we are to use at the same time we act on it, no, kung ano man yung purpose ng design or ng develop product or something somewhat like that. The next one is management. It is applied in the implementation of all the different domains and its effects on the outcomes of learning. So I think if we're going to look at management naman, para siyang inclusive siya sa utilization, but when it comes to management kasi how you right after using it, what's now, no? So that's what we call management. Right after you use a particular concept or something about educational technology, right after your class, what else? Okay, so that is management. Right after is evaluation, monitoring, assessing, and giving judgment on the extent of usefulness of learning materials in achieving the expected outcomes. And that is really true because in everything that we do, we really have to assess or evaluate it, no? Because this is the time that we can judge. This is the time that we can judge, no, the worth of whatever na ginamit natin for the whole process. Okay. So those are the five domains of technology. And again, we will be discussing them one by one after this. Okay, so we are done. Again, we are done discussing with the concepts of educational technology. So we will now proceed to the domains of educational technology. Again, I did mention that there are five domains ang ating educational technology. And domain one talks about design. The theory and practice of design includes instructional system design or ISD, instructional strategies, and learners' characteristics. So I think kung titingnan siguro ninyo, ang pinaka-common siguro na termino dyan ay yung learner's characteristics, no? Because it's really through children that when you design a particular concept or when you design something out of what we call educational technology, we really have to consider first the characteristics of our students, no? By the time we are working on a lot of things inside the classroom, you should not think of yourself. Kasi nga, hindi naman ikaw yung magre-receive ng information or anything, no? So actually you are the facilitator and then you are to teach children. Therefore, you have to focus on the characteristics of each learner. Okay. And then of course, instructional strategies and instructional system design. Now, technology is based on a theory. Theories are results of expert studies, and technology utilizes theories to build or develop tools and gadgets. Lahat naman talaga may pinanggagalingan, no? There are backgrounds, there are reasons, no, why something exists, no, that. So for technology to appear, meron siyang rason why technology appear in this particular situation. So nanggaling siya sa mga teorya, no, or theories to build or develop tools and gadgets. So the most related theory to technology is constructivism. So ito yung pinakamalapit. Here are some reasons why constructivism facilitates knowledge construction. So alam naman natin that one of the major characteristic of a student-centered approach, especially now in the 21st century setup of our classroom, kuan gid siya, what you call this, our students are knowledge constructors, no? They are not the same students na before na passive, no? They are just the receiver of information now. They actually involve in everything. They construct their own knowledge out from something. Okay. And that is the concept of constructivism. So let's try to look at first. Constructivism daw provides representation of reality, no? It delimits the concept of abstraction. no? Kuan kayo ang iyang concept. So designing programs can be meaningful if the learner experience the activities, no? Kaya nga, for this particular reason, the concept of yung abstract, no? When you explain something, hindi na i-imagine ng mga estudyante. Like for example, nung dati, um, yung subject na ayoko sa lahat ng sciences siguro ay chemistry, I think, no? Kasi nga yung during my high school years, yung chemistry ko lang yung pinakamalit na grade. So I actually succumbed the whole concept of um, chemistry kasi nga hindi ko siya naiintindihan. Most likely because it is very abstract. Now, uh, for example, you are to balance chemical equations. What will happen if you combine lithium and sodium, for example, or sodium and chloride, for example? What will happen? It's very abstract to me. No, I can't really understand. But for this, no, so because of the concept of educational technology, nawala na siya ang abstraction. No, klaro na kayo siya. So again, designing programs can be meaningful if the learner experience the activities which are familiar and real. And that's the good thing of physics kasi nga nakadepende sa teacher naman, no? Kasi sa physics kasi lahat nangyayari, no? Everyday na nangyayari ay example ng physics. So you can actually choose that as an example. So the senses are involved in its use and the activities design are built on the learner's past experience. Like for example, I think we have here an example. Example is answering exercises about experiments which the learner underwent. So meron tayong concept dito, the concept of law of gravity. So law of gravity can be publicized by dropping two objects. The other one siguro is heavy, no, compared to the other one. So the learner can answer the following questions. Which object reached the ground faster? Okay. And then which of the objects reached the ground slower? And then what is the time difference after each object touched the ground? This is very clear, no? Because when you wanted them to understand the law of gravity, mo ni siya nga to ang ihatag experiment sa ilaha, no? Of course, our students here, they already have the concept of heavy and then light materials, no? Pag maingon gali ka, bahala pag wala kayo na siya na-discuss, but if you mention kung saan sa dalawa ang mas madaling ano ba yan, faster to reach the ground, of course, automatically, students will answer, sir, yung mas mabigat na object. And that is true, no, at some point. So, bakit sila nakasagot ng ganyan? Because we actually use their past experiences. At some point siguro, meron sila na experience and nakita that if you let object to run through, mas madali yun mo move ang katong bugat or the heavier object. Okay. So that's it. No, that is very clear when it comes to constructivism. The other one is constructivism represents the natural complexity of the real world. Now, it represents the natural complexity, but then again, although constructivism here represents the natural complexity of the world, it's not ano naman, it's not so abstract. It is very clear because it's real. No? So designing the life cycle of a butterfly starting from a worm to a full-blown butterfly, no? Kana siya. Siguro ang gagawin natin, remember that all of the processes in nature are very complicated. They're very complicated. They have their own pattern, no? They have their own product. So for example, siguro ang ipapagawa natin yung mga estudyante, they will for example, you discuss about metamorphosis, no? Sa butterfly. And then you let them siguro observe and then mangita sila aning mga inaning nga process. So they will take pictures and they will give presentation to you. Okay, so that is the way you give experiment to our students. No, so constructivism represents the natural complexity of the real world. Number three, constructivism represents authentic tasks which focus on contextualizing rather than abstracting. Now, again, this is true. So the teacher can design evaluation tools with the use of samples for very well made. Anyway, when it comes to assessment, no? Dapat talaga if the teacher will give you a performance task, importante lang nga mag science fair. Of course, kung science fair yan, dapat yung teacher will design evaluation tool that would uh, that would actually assess or judge the science fair, no? And then if you have a performance task, siguro dancing, for example, make sure that the teacher can decide evaluation tool intended for dancing and not for another thing. Okay. Constructivism provides real-world case-based learning environments rather than predetermined instructional events. So the constructivists use technology from past experiences and knowledge to come up with something new and unique. No? So for example, kana siya, siguro ang mga bata alam na nila. So siguro meron kang challenge na okay, coming from any vegetables, um, siguro ano ba, mag-experiment kayo na pwede nating magamit for remedy yung mga existing nating vegetables. So what you did is siguro merong mga research, pinagawa kayo ng paper and then experiments. And then of course, our students here, meron na silang existing knowledge sa mga nutritional values sa ato ang sa ato ang vegetables, no? Siguro they have to choose, they have to study the existing nutritional value of our vegetables and then they come up a product. Okay. So like for example, like here, siguro yung mga estudyante alam na nila yung nung nutritional value ng moringa. So para mas magamit siya, nagawa sila ng moringa juice. Okay. So that's the concept of constructivism provides real-world case-based learning environments rather than predetermined instructional events. I think I remember during my first year college, no mga second sem na, okay, that's the time na meron na kaming major. One of our final requirements siguro is yung gumawa kami ng research paper. So, sa akin, I think kung hindi ako nagkakamali, yung sa akin is cucumber, no? So yung cucumber ko, parang I did some experiments na pwede siyang magamit for pang facial wash, somewhat like that. Okay. So because I had an existing knowledge about cucumber, 'di ba? Alam naman natin yung cucumber, naging ingredient siya sa mga toner kasi nga mas maganda daw siya sa skin and so on. So that's the reason why I chose pipino no, as my subject or specimen or whatever. Next, constructivism fosters reflective practice. Okay, the teacher can request the students to create scenarios of their learning experiences on the way teacher's way of motivation. Ito din, alam naman natin that we really have to harness the what do you call this, the motivation of the students, no, and the way they reflect things. Ang daming pwedeng gawin, no, because uh, all you have to do is to find a particular situation and then they have to reflect it, especially kung meron na silang existing knowledge, no? So like for example, siguro when it comes to sendong, let them picture out kung ano yung nangyari sa sendong and then you will ask them to reflect, no, sa nangyari sa sendong, for example, or ano ba, ano pa ba, itong pandemya, for example, no, give them time to ponder sa nangyari about this pandemic and then try to give them instruction to reflect on it. Okay. So that's part of constructivism. I think the last one, constructivism promotes context and content. I think this is somewhat the same sa number three natin about contextualization, no? Okay. Context and content are the basis of students' reflection and understanding about the lesson. So the teacher designs situations where the students recall the context and content of certain issues or events which students have experienced watching or hearing. For instance, the context of an erupting volcano will have an adverse effect on the lives and crops of the people. Okay. Likewise, the students can write the reflections about this event. So that is still part of the reflective, fostering reflective practice, no? So the content of the volcano's lava will surely be harmful to the people living near the volcano, but the people prefer to stay in their houses. Kasi nga, I think that the main reason why they are still staying there, although that is part already of the hazard no location, the same in dito sa Bayog Delta, although that is considered as a hazardous place, but then again, people they are still going back, no, naibalik yapon sila sa ilang balay because I think because of the properties, no, nga naa sa ilaha, and then of course their living, no. So some social negotiations for the collaborative effort to convince the people to vacate the area can be offshoots of students' ideas on how to conduct collaborative construction of knowledge through social negotiations. Here, social negotiation is a form of technology. Now, ang ibig sabihin lang, constructivism promotes context and content. Um, you will give cases to our students, no, because promoting context and content is part of educational technology. Now we can see and we can say that the concept of educational technology is not all about using iPads, using laptop, no, it is more than that, no? It's beyond that. So ang nangyari pala dito, no, so sa example na binanggit ko kanina, remember, although hindi natin na-experience yung volcanic eruption, no, of Mount Mayon, but then again, nakita natin kung ano yung pinsalang dala ng eruption. So alam natin that it could kill crops, no, and perhaps it could kill people, it could kill animals, no. So marami talagang mangyayari. It's devastating, and it could actually affect their economy, no, in that particular place. And then that's the time that you will give them a reflection, especially if you give them another idea that although the place is a hazardous, people are still going back to their places, no? And then out from that, give them instruction to reflect on it, and then out from their reflection, siguro ang gagawin mo, they will create a parang negotiation, no, social negotiation. So, bali yung may estudyante na yung gagawa ng social negotiation. Di ba ang bongga na activity? So, kailangan talaga yung mga estudyante na yan na they have to participate, no. So in that particular topic, no, siguro ang imuha sigurong lesson ana is all about environmental issues, but then again try to look at our students are constructing an output which is a social negotiation, no, and that's a very big impact. So that's the concept of constructivism and concept of educational technology. Okay. So practice is repeated action in applying a particular theory. And then according to here, through continuous practice, mastery eventually takes place. And that is true. No, we really have to practice. That is why if we're going to look at our design, nakalagay talaga theory and practice. Theory and practice. So through continuous practice, mastery eventually takes place. Technology starts with design, which includes instructional system design. And then ang susunod, instructional strategies. And of course, the last one to consider is the learner's characteristics. Okay, so just like a tailor pattern, just like a tailor, sorry, a pattern is necessary in sewing well-fitted pants for the customer. Okay. So, saan doon ang tinatawag natin? Actually, we are talking about design here, no? And then a recipe is needed to yield a good dish to be served as meals, no? Yung recipe na doon yung tinatawag natin instructional strategies or the instructional system design for you to create a good dish, no? And then a teaching guide will help the teachers use a textbook effectively. In designing technology, instructional strategies follow the identification of the instructional design. And that is true, no? Uh, Instructional design muna bago instructional strategies, no? Because you have to identify the design, and then out from that design, ano yung gagawin mong strategies? Okay? And then right after that, another factor in designing instructional strategies is knowledge of the character. is knowledge of the characteristics of the learner, no? And that is true. Their interests and of course their needs. So you have to consider. So right after designing, and then right after the design, you are now to create your instructional strategies. Right after the strategies, really have to consider first, of course, hand in hand, both hands, the characteristics of the learner, the interests of the learners, and of course, the needs of the learner. No? Hindi talaga pwedeng gagawin yan with your own concern lang. No? Our main focus here, at the center of our everything, is our students. Okay, so simple teaching program design for beginners and then complicated design for older, mature learners. And that is true, no? That is why kailangan talaga nating malaman yung characteristics ng estudyante natin. And I think this is now the reason why the concept of differentiated instruction boils down, no? Di lang siya mag-boils down ang mag-narrow down ang concept of designing our teaching program for beginners and of course for our older mature learners. Okay. I hope that is clear. So the next domain is domain two, which is development. So right after designing, we have to develop. No? So sa ato ang development, the theory and practice of development of educational technology includes print technologies, audio technologies, still visuals, audiovisual technologies, ICTs or your information communications technology, electronic technologies, and integrated technologies. So let's try to look at domain two. Development of print technologies in the computer focuses on the senses. That is true. As much as possible, hindi lang isang sense, but all senses dapat. So the varied media corresponds to the senses in the formation of insights and perceptions. So this is now the time that we have different developments na type print, audio, because meron siyang gifocus na particular sense. In technologies related to printed materials cater to the sense of sight and the reading skills. No? And then for audio technologies naman, caters to the sense of hearing. And other technologies under development are still visuals, that is still part of the sense of sight. The audio visuals, no? Pag sinasabing audio visuals, perhaps that is in multimedia siguro, no? So it involves not just one or two senses to make presentations interesting and appealing to the senses. Next is domain three. Right after designing and right after producing something, we have to use them. So this is domain three, utilization. The theory and practice on utilization of educational technology includes media utilization, implementation, institutionalization, and policies and regulations. So ang haba siguro ng proseso ng tinatawag nating utilization because ang sabi ko nga kanina it's beyond using the technology, no? It's beyond using the laptop presenting your lesson. It's beyond that. So really, that is true, no? Because right after implementation, meron pa tayong tinatawag na institutionalization and policies and regulation. Technology is the phase where learning materials are considered, no, implemented, and used in actual teaching and learning activities, and that is true. We really have to accept that technology is now an integral part of the teaching learning process, so as with teachers. So after realizing the merit of the material, then it is institutionalized. No, siguro na-produce ang material and then nagamit siya, so implemented and used in actual teaching and learning activities. And then right after that, you realize that, okay, this material is worth it. Right after nahimo siyang worth it na material, that's the time that we are to institutionalize it. I will be giving you example later. And then right after institutionalizing, since this is a new material, therefore we have to set policies and regulations, no, for the use, replication, and documentation of that particular technology. Now, for example, siguro nakagawa si teacher ng ano ba? I remember the what you call this, yung sa DepEd. For instance, during my DepEd my DepEd time, no, in Sulangon National High School in Dapitan City, I actually experienced using the E-class record, no? The E-class record is a of course ang ginamit lang niya is Microsoft Excel, but all of the things are automated. All you have to do is to input a particular value and everything will be computed, no? Because of course that is Microsoft Excel. And I think the one who constructed the E-class record is not actually coming from the people or tech team of the Department of Education, no, sa central office, but a certain teacher lang din po siya sa, I think, in Luzon part. And then during that time, so because it can be considered as learning materials then, that is a big impact using technology. So I believe that was implemented in their school. And then by the time they check the merit or the worth of the material, that's the time that they institutionalize it. So I believe na siguro na ginamit siya sa kanilang region pa for some reason, siguro sa city nila, ano pa. And then right after institutionalizing, they created policies and regulations for use and then replication and the documentation of that material. Kasi na ginamit siya sa buong Pilipinas. No? So of course, since learning material siya, so when it comes to production, they really have to create policies and guidelines and or regulations. Okay. Next is ICT or information and by the way, according to my research and no, that is information and communications technology. Okay, so ICT and other materials can be taken from the computer through surfing, paraphrasing, cutting, and of course pasting. So it's not all about just creating, no? So you can actually utilize things sa computer mismo, no, through surfing. Number four domain is what we call management. So we have here the term management. So right after utilizing the materials, no, creating policies and regulation at the end of the day. So we have here management. So this management now is, yun nga, yung sinabi ko, parang din siyang parte ng utilization, but siguro binigyan siya ng emphasis. It is because malaki din yung factor or role ng management when it comes to educational technology. The theory and practice and management of educational technologies includes project management, okay, resources management, management of delivery system, and of course, diffusion of innovation. So, yung diffusion of innovation dyan, yung pinakalas, no? The term diffusion of innovation, this is now the time that you will, what do you call this? Disseminate, no? The technology. Okay, so that's diffusion of innovation. Okay. So management of the project starts when the materials are designed. So we go back to the domain one, so design talaga. And then management is undertaken during the material development. So mean to say yung management pala hindi lang siya for this particular part but also starting siguro sa pinakauna, no, by the time you design meron ng tinatawag na management. So as with the development part, which is domain number 2, meron na din dong management. So management is undertaken during the material development and utilization up to monitoring and evaluation of the usefulness and worth of materials. Those are still part of what we call management. So it ensures management of resources and delivery systems. Of course, uh, uh, why why do we have to go back to why the term management is part of those preliminaries? It is because they wanted to ensure the management of resources and delivery systems. Okay. And then management also includes the use of computer laboratory, checking of electrical connections, and sharing of the materials among the teachers and staff of the school. Now, the term sharing is what we call diffusion of innovation. So sharing of the materials among the teacher and staff of the school. So those are the inclusives of your domain 4, which is management. So we go down to the last domain, which is domain 5 for evaluation. I think at the end of the day, if we're going to use something, it should be evaluated for some reasons, no? So the theory and practice of evaluation of educational technology includes problem analysis, measurement, formative evaluation, and of course, we have the term summative evaluation. So sa assessment ninyo, alam nyo na kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng measurement. Of course, your teacher sa CPE 105 introduced the term formative evaluation and of course, summative evaluation and what is the difference between the two. So this phase shows the different processes involved in judging the worth of the materials produced. So that's actually the main reason of evaluation. We are to judge the worth of the materials produced. The teacher and students use a variety of evaluation instruments depending on the skill or knowledge being evaluated. Let's go back to the concept of evaluation and assessment that we really have to create or use evaluation tools or instruments that is of course reflective to ano yung kailangan nating i-judge, no? Ano yung kailangan nating i-measure. Okay? So if you are to evaluate the or judge the video production of your students, you have to use evaluation tools for video production. No? If you have a performance task for dancing, make sure that your evaluation tool is not for singing but for dancing. So that's the main point there. And of course, a software is available to evaluate the finished learning materials. The developer can also devise evaluation instruments that fit well to the materials produced. So let's try to involve technology here. We can actually use software, no, to evaluate the finished learning materials. There are a lot of things, especially siguro sa engineering, kato yung meron talagang gagamiting products, no? They have this software. Of course, sa atin din, meron din tayo, no, sa teaching. The developer can also devise evaluation instruments that fit well to the materials produced. Everything can be automated, everything can be used with technology. So the bottom line there is how you use it for appropriateness, no, and of course for relevance. So those are the 5 domains of your educational technology, starting from design. The next one is development. The third one is utilization, domain 4 management, and of course, domain 5 evaluation. Now let's try to focus on the term technology. The focus on integration of technology will be in facilitating and enhancing the teaching learning episodes undertaken by both the teachers and the students, and that is true. Again, why do we integrate technology at the center of the teaching learning process? The same with the teacher. It is because we wanted to enhance the teaching learning episodes. No, gusto nating malaman at then gusto nating maging mas maganda or our students can understand better the lesson. That is why we really have to use technology. Actually, it's not all about on the side of the students, but it is also for the teacher, no? Because the main siguro thing that the teacher can have, no, by integrating technology is a proper feedback, no, immediate feedback, and those are very important to improve the teaching learning process. The degree of utilization of tools and techniques to improve student learning constitute the main concern of educational technology manifested by the acquisition of the intended learning outcomes. That is true, no, because um, the reason why we are to integrate technology to our lesson because that is needed sa imuhang learning outcomes, no? That is why it is very imperative for us to right after realizing kung ano yung topic ninyo and then right after constructing your learning objectives, that's the time that you will now select your appropriate educational technology. And mind you everyone that you can actually use different educational technology in just one lesson. But again, you have to consider the term appropriateness, no? Baka kasi ma-overpower ang technology, no, matanggalan ng role yung teacher ay hindi naman pwede. Because again, teachers cannot be replaced by technology kahit anumang technology yan. Okay. So that's the point of the second bullet. I hope you understand it. Now, let's try to look at the technological competence and what is the definition of that. So when we say technological competence, it refers to the ability to use with ease and confidence the equipment, tools or gadgets mentioned. So, I think maraming mga research about technological competence. Meron din yung level, no? Sa pagkakaalam ko may level din, no? There are teachers and then again, this is not all about for teachers. So, this can be assessed also sa mga estudyante kung confident ba sila and then by the time they will be opening the computer with ease ba, hindi ba sila natataranta, no? Those can be measured when it comes to technological competence. But then again, although hindi naman ibig sabihin na yung teacher cannot learn anymore about technology, no? Kasi nga ang DepEd, marami talagang pa-training ang DepEd when it comes to ICT integration sa classes, no? So that's the way on how we improve our technological competence, no? So we really have to learn from it. So the correct and careful use of these tools and gadgets will lead to satisfaction of the user. I think I did mention this that when you use, I think more para siyang power, no? If someone will give you a superpower and then mapunta siya sa villain, no? Or kontrabida, although the power is somewhat by nature okay siya, the power can be used in a negative way. But if the superpower, no, siguro yung superpower maibigay at matanggap ni Sir Fern ay bonggang-bongga. I can actually use the superpower in a nice way, in a positive way. So that's how you look at it, no? So nakadepende yan sa paggamit, no? That is why i-emphasize gyud nako ang term nga appropriateness. So that's it, no? Walang sobra, walang kulang, no? It's katamtaman, kumbaga. That is why we really have to consider the term appropriateness when it comes to in choosing tools and gadget to integrate and to be integrated into your lesson. Okay. So the guiding principle in technological competence is to master the instructions first before using the equipment, tools, or gadget. And that is true. Like for example, kung meron kang, ano ba ito? Ang topic is all about seed germination, for example. No? You really have to understand first the concept of seed germination. Kasi nga, siguro sa laboratory ninyo, meron kang seed germination box. No? So for you to understand and for you to use the seed germination box, you have to understand first the concept. No? Kailangan mo munang maintindihan yung concept. It is because by the time you will be using a particular technology, hindi kasi ang technology magdidictate ng concept, no? So that is why dapat nauna yung concept, right? After that would be the implementation or the usage of equipment. Because ang equipment din natin is coming from a principle, no? If the equipment is intended for seed germination, therefore, yung equipment is for seed germination. No? So, dyan siya nanggaling. So, if ever you did not or you don't understand the concept of seed germination, therefore you cannot use and understand the equipment and how to use it. Okay, so again, the guiding principle in technological competence is to master the instructions first before using the equipment, tools, or gadgets. So that's how I take it. Okay, and I hope that the things that we discussed here, the things that I am talking are very clear to you because that is the end of discussion. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to listen and to watch the video again, you feel free to do it. Okay. Thank you so much and keep safe, everyone.